Once upon a time, in a village, there lived a sculptor who made really beautiful sculptures and earned a fair living from his labor. He had a son who began sculpting statues as a kid as well. Even though he used to produce really beautiful sculptures, his father was always pleased to see his son's idols, but every time he pointed out a fault in his work, his son never grumbled and continued to improve his work, following his father's advice. Because of his steady development, his work began to outperform that of his father. Then there came a period when people began to pay more money for his statues, but his father's statues remained to be sold at their original price. Son grew older and earned far more than his father, but his father continued to point out errors in his son's work, which his son disliked. He used to accept his flaws and work to rectify them, but now he was offended by his father's comments. When the father was lecturing his son about the flaws in his idol, the son lost patience and replied, "You are pointing out my problems as if you are a greater sculptor than me. But if that were the case, your idols would have sold for more money than mine. However, idols built by me are considerably more expensive than idols made by you, indicating that I am a far greater sculptor than you. I don't think I need your help anymore. My sculptures are flawless." After that, father ceased offering guidance or pointing out errors in his son's work. For a time, he was pleased, but he soon learned that people no longer praised his work as much as they used to, and the price of his statue began to plummet. Son couldn't understand why he didn't find any flaws in the idols he created. He was quite disappointed, so he went to his father one day and informed him about his predicament. "I knew this was going to happen," father stated after listening to him. Son was taken aback and remarked, "You knew this was going to happen?" Father answered, "Yes, my son, because I was in a similar circumstance many years ago." Then my kid said, "Why didn't you explain it to me?" Father responded, "Because you didn't want to comprehend at the time. I know I can't create sculptures as lovely as yours. That's why, as a teacher, I always try to discover flaws in your heroes, because sometimes we don't notice any defects in our work, because we all love what we do, but the other person can see those flaws and mistakes that you can't. When I used to point out problems in your sculptures, you would be dissatisfied with your work and want to enhance it even more. That is why your work improved day by day, and the price of your idols increased. But when you were content with your own work and felt it was flawless, your progress stalled. People have always anticipated greater work from you, but when you have failed to meet their expectations, they have lost interest in your job and you are not paid well for your position. That is why you are in this state." Son paid attention to his father. He was silent for a long before asking father, "What should I do now?" "My son, learn to be unsatisfied and to believe that there is room for improvement. And this one thing will encourage you to accomplish all of this better. If we look at our life, we will notice that we frequently regard criticism as a protest. But if we observe, we will notice that criticism is not a protest at all, but rather a chance to learn something. New people will always critique your work, but whether you take that criticism positively or negatively is all up to you. Indeed, criticism is a form of feedback. If you take it positively, you will be able to identify problems in your work and try to rectify them while continuing to advance. If you take it negatively, you will be unable to identify defects in your work and your progress will be halted. That is why critics are believed to be our best friends since they point out our flaws. Therefore, if you want to grow in your life, be perfect, and reach success, never be frightened of criticism because you will never be able to progress in your life and achieve success until you have critics.
Please subscribe to my channel Lessons of Life and press the bell notification icon.